Hello, horror people. We are back.
Hi, everybody. This is Kevin.
This is Brian.
And we're the horror guys.
Yep, one more episode for you.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some horror movies this week.
As always.
Yeah.
Yeah, as usual, we will cover 4 horror movies, old and new, and one short.
Yeah.
Heavy on the spoilers usually, although we do start out each review with a spoiler-free judgment zone.
So you can pause and go watch the movie.
But, as always with our films, we will give you a brief, spoiler-free, yes or no, watch it or don't. Then we'll go through the entire synopsis, including many spoilers, and then some details, trivia, and the usual stuff there at the end of each film, including why we liked it.
Yeah.
So what do we got this week?
We got Underwater, a 2020 film.
Oh, yeah, with the Twilight Girl in it.
Yeah, Kristen Stewart and other people. Yeah.
I think we were both going into that one cringing.
But, yeah.
But it turned out to
so
be pretty
pleasantly
good.
surprised.
Yeah. What else?
Absentia from 2011.
Sounds like a dental problem. I've got an absentia in my tooth.
Absentia. Yeah, it does, yeah. And then we got Phantasm III, Lord of the Dead.
Ooh, part 3. They just keep getting better, don't they?
Well, It Conquered the World from 1956.
From the moldy oldie category.
Kind of campy sci-fi kind of. Yeah.
Evil carrot
Black
attacks.
and white 50s. Well, yeah, it was sort of carroty. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a short called Job Interview from Hell.
We've all been there, but maybe not quite like
This one
this.
especially. Never had an interview like this, no.
All right, before we get going, do have an announcement to make that we now have an all-new weekly email that contains all our reviews from the site, plus some bonus material. So you can go to our website, horrorguys.com, every day and read our reviews, which is great. We like that.
Yeah.
Please do. But it's hard to remember to do that every day. So this way, you'll just get our reviews in your mailbox once a week. It's all five reviews plus bonus stuff in one email. Or maybe 2 emails with the bonus things. We haven't quite worked that one out yet. But we are discontinuing our old email list, so if you were already on the old email list, you've already been migrated over to the new system. You don't have to do anything. So if you're one of those old-time emailers and you see something new from us, don't worry, it's real. In the meantime, if you want to sign up for this weekly email, go to horrorbulletin.substack.com. Or just go to horrorguys.com and find a link. It's on there all over the place. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Well, here we go.
What's up first?
How about alphabetically with Absentia?
Absentia from 2011. Would you like me to read these?
Why
notes?
don't you read this one?
I will.
This was one of your choices.
I will read Brian's notes. Brian's spoiler-free judgment zone.
Oh, who directed and stuff?
Oh, yeah. Mike Flanagan directed and wrote it. And it stars Katie Parker, Courtney Bell, and Dave Levine. Runtime is 1 hour and 27 minutes. And we have a link to the trailer in the show notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize anybody from anything else that I'd seen.
I didn't either.
Kind of nobodies at the time that
who have
maybe have stayed that way a little bit.
They're not superstars, but
Yeah.
they were good in this.
All right.
Yeah, I thought they did a fine job. And she was really pregnant. The pregnant lady was really pregnant in it. So, typecasting.
They didn't spend a year and a half getting this one out, you could tell.
Well, and there was a time limit, too, on the shoot, because she was pretty pregnant, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the spoiler-free judgment zone, it's a supernatural missing persons case with lots of drama. It's suspenseful, but there's nearly no action, special effects, or gore.
Yep.
Yeah.
Somebody goes missing, and they got to figure out what happened.
And yet, it still managed to be creepy, I thought.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. It's more drama than horror, and it's also a very slow burn, edging into the territory of boring. What?
I thought so.
That's what Brian says. I didn't think it was boring at all. I thought it was fascinating.
Okay.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
I would have liked more answers.
Yeah, but that's what makes you wonder and guess and creeps you out because you don't know.
Sometimes that's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want more.
Okay.
So what happens?
Well, spoiler zone begins here. Tricia takes down her husband's missing poster from a streetlight pole and puts up a fresh one. He's been gone for a while, it appears. She meets her sister, Callie, who's just returned from a road trip that went on for 5 years. Well, she's been away for a while. Yeah.
I want to take a 5-year road trip.
Yeah. Tricia is in the process of declaring Danny dead in absentia after 7 years. He's vanished. No trace, no nothing. And it's been rough on her. And yet she's pregnant. Which,
Oh, yeah,
you don't,
yeah.
what? How'd this happen? Yeah. Well, there's no answer immediately, but it does make you wonder, yeah.
We know eventually.
Well, Tricia wakes up in the night and sees Danny standing by the windows crying. She touches him, and he roars at her. No, it was just a dream. Yeah. Next morning, the sister Callie goes for a run, which takes her to the creepy tunnel at the end of the street. And she passes... Yeah, we see many missing animal posters and other missing people posters that are...
Missing dog, missing cats,
mounted on the
missing
walls.
people.
You go, And on the way back, she finds a man laying in the tunnel, which she just thinks is a homeless guy. But he says, "You can see me?" he asks. "It's sleeping," he says. He's Walter. Well, she just runs home. She's creeped out by him. Yeah.
He's weird.
Yeah.
Doug, who is it?
Oh, yes. Slender guy who does a lot of...
Doug Jones.
Yes, Doug Jones.
Doug Jones,
yeah.
yes.
Who does you often see him in heavy makeup doing characters. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was in pretty good makeup here, too. He was, beat up or damaged.
yeah. But, I mean, usually he's a non-human...
Not a human,
non-human characters a lot of times, yeah. Well, Detective Mallory is there visiting when she gets back to the house. He mentions things have been going missing all over the area. Break-ins with no clues and just things missing out of people's houses. And he warns them to lock their doors. He leaves, and she sees Danny again, but she's not asleep this time. And her therapist says, well, that's not a normal thing. So, I think, guilt and stress and, worry, plus the pregnancy, all getting to her. She's kind of hallucinating him. Or is she? You don't know at this point, yeah. A few hours later, Callie, the sister, takes food to Walter, but he's gone. Well, she leaves a Tupperware full of food for him just in case. After her on the next day, Callie finds change and a bunch of trinkets on her doorstep. Well, she puts them back in the tunnel, but a man tells her not to do it. He leaves his own bag of stuff there and walks away. That night, she finds a whole bunch of more junk in her bed. So then she
Is that ever explained? How that got into her bed?
The things put it there.
It came out of the tunnel and came to her house.
Because they left her. She left them a gift, so they left him a gift. Left her a gift.
Yeah, I got that part.
They traded bartering thing. Yeah, and fixated on her. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, we are. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, a bunch of junk, and so she calls the police, freaks out. Someone's been in their house, and police don't know. There's no clues, and the house was locked apparently. Yeah.
No signs of forced entry.
Yeah. Well, Daniel whispers to Tricia as she tries to meditate. Detective Mallory gets positively angry to hear someone has been in the house, and we suspect at that point he's the baby daddy.
Yeah.
Well, the next morning, Callie runs in a different place, then gets high after, although she's supposed to be clean and sober. Daniel's death certificate arrives in the mail. The two girls look out and go for an apartment, so Tricia can finally sell the house and move on, put all this behind her. Except, on Tricia and Detective Mallory's first date, they walk out of the house, and who shows up? Daniel.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. "You can see me?" he asks. And I was underneath, is one of the things he says, too. Well, he's kind of all shocky and weird, and eventually they release him from the hospital. Daniel acts like he's in shock and says he doesn't really remember where he was, but Mallory doesn't believe him. And there's other weirdness, too, where...
well, he's been gone for 7 years. He's not starving. He's been fed.
Well, sort of. He's really malnourished.
Yeah.
And vitamin D deficient from chronic lack of sunlight, they said.
And he's wearing the same
the same clothes. Got his wallet. The same, things with him when he disappeared.
You couldn't be homeless on the streets for 7 years and keep your wallet, he says.
Yeah, or the same clothes, Well, later Daniel reads 3 Billy Goats Gruff and complains that's not what it looks like. It's more like a spider. Yeah. "I wish you hadn't traded with it. It fixates on that," he says. And it's in one of the walls over there, and Callie does see something moving in the wall, which is kind of a neat effect. You can see the wallpaper rippling. Well, while Tricia is out in the car talking to Mallory, something happens to Callie, and Daniel is gone again. She saw it drag Daniel out the front door, down the street, and into the tunnel.
Yeah, clearly Daniel didn't do it to himself.
Yeah, and that's actually a neat, subtle effect, because you just see like a leg or two, and you see hints of the creature. And it does forcibly drag him out.
Very forcibly.
Yeah. Well, the detectives realize right away that she's been high, and they just dismiss her story. Tricia has to file another missing persons report.
The moral of the story is never get high in a horror movie.
No, nobody leaves you. Yeah.
Even if you're not the victim.
Yeah. Tricia thinks Callie hallucinated the whole thing, but Callie insists otherwise. Callie does some internet research and identifies Walter from the internet. He was missing since 1995. People have been disappearing there since the 1920s, and this has been going on for a very long time. Tricia is in denial, which seems completely reasonable, because it's a wild story, yeah. Well, Daniel's parents finally arrive by plane. Oops. All excited to see him. And,
he's back.
Well, yeah.
He was,
and he's gone again, yeah. The police come to the door and say that a body has been found in the tunnel, and they're freaking out thinking it's Danny. Well, it's Walter, that first guy. That other man who was there with the bag screams, and the police tackle him. He's Jamie, Walter's son, and he had been trading with the monster, trying to get his father back. And he's the source of a lot of the missing animals in the neighborhood.
Yeah, he was doing the break-ins.
He was abducting them and leaving them for the creatures in the tunnel. Yeah. Callie goes to the police that night and reports that another monster took Tricia, like right out of the living room, and they tell her to file a missing persons report and don't believe her again. Yeah. Well, Callie puts all her evidence and research into an envelope for Mallory and goes into the tunnel. She yells, "Trade," and hears many screams starting to come from behind the walls. So she's thinking she's going to trade herself for her sister. Well, it doesn't work out like she thought, because an unborn baby appears on the ground, dead.
This is just a subtle flash. You got to be paying attention, or you're going to miss it. I think that they had more going on there and probably cut it.
Yeah,
it was
probably too graphic,
maybe.
Yeah. So the creatures gave the baby, and then Callie runs but vanishes, and that was a neat effect too. Like just her shoe, pops out of the tunnel. Well, Detective Mallory comes by again, finds the envelope packet. Both of them gone. Will he solve this? Doubtful. Yeah.
Wait for the sequel.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, want me to read your commentary
I
too?
Get that part.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
All right, so Tricia's reactions are pretty believable and realistic considering her situation. She's in shock for a lot of it, and yeah, you would be if this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel's behavior seems believable for what he went through, and Callie just reacts to everything as well as she can. I mean, Tricia and Daniel are the causes of the drama, and Callie's just sort of dealing with it.
Yes, yeah.
It's all very depressing and emotional, at least until the monster shows up. She's lost her husband, she doesn't know why, he's probably dead, and yeah, it's all sad and stuff. Believe it or not, the whole plot, according to the director, the whole plot is based on the Three Billy Goat Gruff story.
That was the inspiration.
With the troll under the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
There is a literal bridge, and I guess it's a troll.
An interdimensional troll.
Yeah.
Interdimensional race of trolls or something. Yeah.
We never really see the monster.
Not clearly, no. Just hints of it, and enough to be creepy. Yeah.
It's slow, especially the first half hour or so. I thought the first half hour was maybe a little too much character building. Nothing particularly supernatural happens for almost the first full hour, but when it does, it gets pretty interesting. It's a very low-budget film, but done competently with good production values. All right.
So
I'll give it a 6.
Oh, I'd give it a 9.
Oh,
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I like this one.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And now our
second time I've seen it, still liked it. Yeah.
Antiquity of the week. It conquered the world.
Spoiler, it didn't really conquer the world.
Yeah, it conquered the world from 1956. Directed by Roger Corman. Written by Lou Russoff and Charles B. Griffith. Stars Peter Graves, the Mission Impossible guy. Beverly Garland and Lee Van Cleef.
And even if
Way before The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and Escape from New York.
Even if you don't do the movie, check out either IMDb or just a Google search of stills from It Conquered the World.
Yeah, I know you've seen this. You had to have seen this picture of this creature before.
Creature is just something else. Yeah, it's a classic creature.
It's worth seeing it just for this creature.
Yeah.
It's both laughable and kind of good at the same time.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But yeah, who knew Lee Van Cleef had hair once?
A lot of it, yeah.
Hour and 11 minutes, so it's a fairly short one. We've got a link to the trailer in the show notes, and also you can watch the full film on YouTube. So yeah, you don't have to get the DVD or anything with this one. Spoiler free, it's all right.
Yeah, it was.
It's not boring, and the creature is one of those things you just have to see to believe. This is another mind-controlling alien, but as Kevin already spoiled it, it doesn't conquer the world.
Well, and I think this one is especially a good snapshot of sci-fi thrillers, sci-fi horror monster thrillers from the 50s.
It wasn't terrible.
It's
low budget.
Yeah.
It's well paced.
Amongst all those from that era, I think
I won't say it's particularly well acted.
Yeah.
I think Lee Van Cleef was really kind of horrible in this.
He gets better.
He gets better
over the years.
Yeah. I don't know if this probably was not his first job, but he didn't impress me much here. Okay, well, Dr. Paul Nelson, and that would be Peter Graves, is working in the space lab, and they're getting to launch their new $9 million satellite.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What an unbelievable
the
amount
most
of
expensive
money.
investment the country has ever had.
Well, in 1956, that was especially huge. Yeah.
Dr. Tom Anderson, that'd be Lee Van Cleef, has warned the government over and over to cancel the program. He has a complicated list of credentials. He worked on, like, the Manhattan Project and a bunch of other things. But the government can't stop progress for his warnings. He thinks alien intelligences are watching us constantly. Okay, at this point he sounds sensible. That's true, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Tom and Peter and their wives have dinner together. It's been up there, the satellite has been up there for 3 months now.
And nothing bad has happened?
Nope.
Yeah.
Working great.
Yeah.
Tom shows Paul his radio set, and he says he's been picking up Venus. Paul doesn't hear the voices that Tom does. Then Paul gets a phone call. The satellite is gone. Well, the satellite suddenly reappears. Even Tom's wife, Claire, thinks he's crazy by this point. He has long conversations with someone on the radio that no one else can hear, and he's certain that the voice is his new friend. The military decides to bring down the satellite to see what happened to it. They'll never know if they don't bring it down. The satellite crashes, but the voice tells Tom that he survived the crash. Everything on Earth with power suddenly stops. It's some kind of power failure. Yeah, communications are down as well.
Yeah, even down to things like watches and cars, and it's not just the power grid.
Yeah. Paul and Joan's car stalls along with everything else, and they walk to Tom's house for help. I guess these two families just are the only ones living in the desert. Meanwhile, the ugly little alien shoots out little butterfly-like drones.
And those are kind of cute.
Tom's
they
car,
flutter around.
They're like butterflies and bats combined.
Yeah.
The animation on those were fairly good.
Yeah,
Tom's car works because he was smart. We don't know what that means exactly.
Yeah,
I was smart.
How does he overcome that?
Yeah,
we don't know.
One of the drones attacks the sheriff, who throws the creature in the garbage can afterwards. Another one gets the general in the same way. Paul and Joan arrive at Tom's house, and Tom explains that he expected all of this.
Yeah, this is one of those, well, it's been done before, like Invaders from Mars, and where it goes in the back of their neck and controls them.
Like the Brain Eaters just last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a trope that had been used in so many movies.
All in the same couple of... Well, Invasion of the Body Snatchers came out this year, the same year as this one. And it had already been done a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Tom thinks the alien is here to rescue mankind from itself, not enslave it. Paul doesn't believe any of this, but he doesn't like the story either. It's not good. The sheriff evacuates the town. The newspaper editor refuses to leave, so the sheriff shoots him right on the street. One of the drones then goes after Paul, but he shoots it and scares it off before driving back to Tom's house. He accuses Tom of being a traitor and a murderer. Tom explains that there are only 9 of these creatures alive at all, but only one has come to Earth. So there you go. Got 8 sequels possible.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Paul calls Tom a traitor to mankind and storms off again. Claire tells Tom that she hopes Paul kills the thing, and she agrees that Tom is in the wrong. Joan uses one of the drones to attack Paul, but he kills it. The alien tells Tom to kill Paul, since his control device has been killed. The alien explains to Tom that he can only make one of these control devices per person once every, 12 days or something like that?
Yeah, it was ridiculously slow.
Yeah, he can make 8 of them a week, and he's going to conquer the world this way.
Slowly. He's going to slowly conquer the world.
Somebody, I bet, has done the math on that. How many people could you convert?
How long would it take?
Well, by the time you get, 1 million people or so, the older ones are going to be dead. Nobody said they were immortal or anything.
Yeah, just regular
people are going to
lifespan.
die off faster than you can convert them all.
Yeah.
Claire tells Tom that Paul shoots Joan without any drama. He just kills his wife without a thought. Yeah, she's been possessed, but you'd think he'd try to do something.
Yeah, he didn't try very hard.
She doesn't have super strength or anything like that. He kills the drone thing that she was trying to force onto him. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, okay. Yeah. Boom, she's dead.
Yeah.
Tom's wife, Claire, gets on the radio and tells the creature that she's going to find a way to kill it. She then grabs the shotgun and gets in the car. She knows where the creature's hiding. Paul tries to talk Tom into helping fight the thing. Claire enters the cave where the creature lives and sees it. It's horrible. Sorta.
Yeah.
She shoots it a couple of times until it kills her. Tom and Paul hear her
bulletproof.
screams over the radio. It seems to be bulletproof, yes.
Bullet resistant, anyway. It's a tough.
And throughout the movie, there's been this company of soldiers.
Well, it survived that awful crash, too. So,
it's tough.
He's a tough sucker.
Yeah, throughout the whole film, though, there's been this company of soldiers that have been wandering around in the woods, which have done absolutely nothing but supply some very weak comedy relief. Yeah, the one guy's a soldier, and the other guy's got this bad Mexican accent and with all the senor stuff, and really?
Yeah, and that's
really?
They make that a running joke. Yeah.
Well, Tom, one of them hears Claire screaming and brings the others, so the soldiers go into the cave. Paul goes to the lab and kills the general and 2 of the controlled scientists. This film has some of the worst fight choreography I've ever seen.
Oh, it was pretty bad.
That first scientist gets shot, and he's pointing the gun down toward the guy's knees, and he falls over dead. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's bad.
Well, they were, following that, gun safety. You're not never supposed to point a gun at anybody ever.
Well, current events have proven that correct, but
well,
yeah, no, it turns out the general isn't really dead. He follows Paul, as does the sheriff. Tom then kills the sheriff. The soldiers attack the monster in its cave, but they have to fall back. They do, however, draw it outside. Tom arrives with his tiny little flamethrower thing. What is that for, anyway? It looked like a paint sprayer or something.
Oh, I think it's for weed control.
A flamethrower for weed control?
Yeah.
Oh, I want one of those.
Yeah, I think that's what that was. Yeah. They use them for burning weeds off.
All right, well, Tom uses his little flaming weed killer and burns the thing just as it kills him. So, yeah, he burns it to death, and survive that crash with that little flaming thing, does it?
Cranked up, and I'm pretty sure that's what that was.
Yeah, Paul then arrives, and he makes a speech about how perfect humanity is. The end.
Yeah. All better.
Well, okay, it's another alien mind control story. This one's got a lot more action than some of the ones we talked about in the last couple of weeks.
Which I thought made it more entertaining.
I thought so too, yeah. Uh-huh. Although the fight scene choreography is laughably bad. Paul fighting the sheriff, he swings and punches him, and you can see that it misses by inches. But yet the sheriff goes down. Mm-hmm. And the gunshots that I mentioned a little while ago too. The little flying drone things are they stop motion or creatures on a wire? I don't know, but they looked pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they did that.
The main monster, on the other hand, is both creative, unique, and completely ridiculous at the same time. It's like a 7-foot-tall carrot with crab claws and great-looking teeth. Yeah, it's something. It's really something.
Big teeth.
Well, then we saw a short film. So yeah, the short film, Job Interview from Hell, Written and directed by Bartosz Kuzmicki. Stars Kim Schultz. 4 minutes long, so not a lot of time for this one. And there's a link in the show notes to go watch it on YouTube.
Brief but intense.
High budget?
No. Would have been a pretty basic budget. I thought it was really well done.
You read it, they made it on, what, $300, 300 pounds?
Oh, well, that's just an IMDb estimate. I don't think it was an official release. But
yeah, some of these indie films, though, they don't take much.
No. I mean, they would have needed the creature effect and, some office space that, chances are they let them use for free. And,
What'd you think?
I thought it was great.
I liked it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kim adds a job interview to her Google Calendar. Kim then arrives for her interview, but there's no one in the office. No one, except for a glowing-eyed bird monster who kills her. That's all.
Wait, what?
Oops, reset.
Oh, it's not over.
Kim arrives for her interview, but there's no one in the office. She remembers the attack from before and runs to get out, but the bird kills her. Again. Reset. Kim arrives for her interview, but there's no one in the office. She looks around and sees a skateboard. This time she's ready. What will happen? Time loop.
Yeah, I thought it was nicely done.
Giant bird monster versus the skateboard. Okay, well, this has got some pretty good problem solving in it. I'd certainly hire her. When you're stuck in a time loop, your only job is to get out. It's short, but very well executed.
Yep.
We both like it.
Yep, worth checking out for sure.
All right. So we did Phantasm, the original movie, I don't know, way back when. We did Phantasm II just recently.
Now it's time for Phantasm III.
Lord of the Dead from 1994. The previous one was... When was the previous one? It was like 88, right?
Yeah, around then.
Yeah, the first one was... Oh, boy. I should look these
70s?
up. Yeah, late 70s, very early 80s. So there's been quite a few years between these.
I want to say 1978 on the first one.
Seems about
1979.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
79, then 88, now 94. So, yeah, these are not boom, boom, boom. Written and directed by Don Coscarelli. Stars Reggie Bannister, A. Michael Baldwin, Bill Thornberry. Hour and 31 minutes, and of course we got the trailer in the show notes.
Yeah, the casting was strange. They had a different actor do...
Michael.
Yeah, Michael in the second movie. But then in the third one they bring him back again. Same actor.
Did we ever find out why they changed him in the second movie?
It was unclear. No.
Okay.
The real actor didn't sound happy about it, but yeah.
Wasn't his choice.
Yeah, I didn't see any, clear explanation of why.
Yeah, the characters of Reggie and Jody have been played by the same actors all the way through the entire series, but Michael was replaced in the second movie.
James LaGrosse played him in the second one.
And then they brought him back for the third and the future movies, which is a mystery.
Yeah.
All right, so spoiler freeze. It's better than the second film.
Oh, I didn't think so.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I liked the first one. The second one better. A little better.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good continuation of the series, and it ends in a much better place for further sequels. Like in the first one, they kill off everybody. In the second one, they kill off everybody. This one, not quite so much.
Yeah.
It explains a bit more about the tall man's agenda and adds some interesting new characters to the story. All right. So we start out, spoiler time. We start out with a shot of the tall man staring into his balls. Wait, what?
What?
Mike, the boy from the first film, remembers the events from the previous two films, but somehow the tall man just keeps coming back. Nothing is ever as it seems. Credits roll. Then we take up right where the second movie left off. Reggie is thrown out of the hearse, which soon explodes with Mike and the girls from the second movie inside. Reggie shoots an evil dwarf and rescues Mike. Not really, as the tall man and more dwarves arrive. Reggie threatens to blow himself and Mike up with a grenade, and the tall man backs off, saying he can wait. Mike's in the hospital, still unconscious after the car accident. He dreams about people walking into the light. He sees Jody, his dead brother, who tells him to go back. "Stay away from the light," he says. Reggie walks into the room just in time to see a killer ball pop out of the nurse's head. This ball has an eye stalk.
Ew.
A very human-looking eye inside.
Yeah, neat
Keep
effect.
an eye on you. Mike and Reggie go home to get their stuff before leaving town. Jody is there to warn them, but it's really Jody's mind inside one of the silver balls. "It's time now, boy," says the tall man. The tall man and Mike leave through a portal. The next morning, Reggie wakes up and tries to repair the Jody ball to no avail. It only says, Holtzville. Reggie goes to the town of Holtzville, population 0. There was some kind of toxic spill here years ago, he's told, but he's overpowered by a trio of goofy-looking crooks.
3 looters.
Oh, there's something.
Yeah, they're looters, yeah.
The 3 of them decide for some reason to break into this big house and steal stuff. There's a little kid who lives inside the house who kills the girl and wounds one of the men. Then he throws a razor-tipped frisbee that kills the other man. Clearly, we've got a Home Alone situation here.
Deadly Home Alone. He's a little more
efficient.
Less comedic and more deadly. Yeah.
Soon, the little boy is alone, the other 3 are dead, and he lets Reggie out of the trunk of the car. The boy's name is Tim, and he warns Reggie about the lurkers that the tall man left there after killing his parents. Yeah, there was no toxic spill. The tall man wiped out the town.
Yeah, he did.
The tall man took both his parents, but Tim escaped. The eyeball, that just doesn't even come out right. The ball with the eye is watching them all night. The next morning, they find the lurkers took all 3 of the dead bandits' bodies.
Well, and you see, too, the eyeball, the one that the tall man is looking into, he sees what the eye is seeing.
Yeah, it's his spy drone.
It's his spy ball. Yeah.
Spy ball, eyeball.
Uh-huh.
Reg decides to leave, and Tim insists on going along. Next stop, Holtzville Cemetery. Reggie enters the abandoned mausoleum, and he's almost immediately attacked by a ball. 2 women handcuff Reggie, but the ball gets one of them almost instantly. The other woman, whose name is Rocky, tries to fight it with nunchucks, but Tim shoots it instead. The trio wind up at a motel for the night. They're headed to Bolton, another town that's been all cleared out. They get lost, but they soon spot a trio of hearses driven by guys in gas masks. These are the lurkers.
Yep, or they were the Reapers.
Were they? I thought they were
previously.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of flexible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's dozens of hearses, so it's not hard to figure out that, hey, we should follow these guys. Reggie finally convinces Rocky to have sex with him, but right in the middle of it, Jody appears again. He shows Reggie how to get to Mike. They take a portal to see the tall man and Mike, and the Jody ball lasers a hole in the wall to release him, but the tall man turns Jody back into a ball. So, yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah,
sometimes he looks like Jody, sometimes he's a silver ball.
Mm-hmm.
They escape through another portal. The 3 bandits from earlier are back, now zombified, but they don't last long. Reggie, Mike, Rocky, and Tim then head into the town's mausoleum, thinking the tall man would never think to look for them there. Bad choices.
Well, it's too obvious. You wouldn't think of looking there.
Yeah. They find a cryonics pod. This is an abandoned mausoleum in an abandoned town. Everything is open, everything's exposed, everything's got leaves and trash, and yet there's this completely working cryogenics pod there.
And the amount of power that it would take to keep that refrigeration going to at that level.
Don't think too hard on this one.
Don't think too hard on this. Plus, it's just a vat of
floating heads.
That's not how that works. Yeah.
And Mike remembers that the tall man doesn't like the cold. The Jody ball explains the tall man's plan to Mike. He puts brains into the sentinels/balls and turns their bodies into killers. So you take your brain out, shrink it down, stick it in one of these little balls, and use your body as a zombie slave or a dwarf.
Uh-huh.
Mike talks to the tall man. Rocky and Tim fight with the not-so-dead bandits once again. The tall man starts to operate on Mike, but the others break in and fight him. They stab him and shove him into the meat lockers, which is very cold. Uh-oh. The tall man shatters into little pieces, and a silver sentinel emerges. They end up dumping the ball in the liquid nitrogen tank. It was Chekhov's cryo chamber.
It sure was.
Unfortunately, Mike now has balls in his head.
What?
Sounds like a medical problem. Yeah, he starts picking at his forehead, and there's a shiny ball inside.
Mm-hmm.
He runs off into the darkness. Rocky says goodbye and drives off as well. Tim and Reg go back inside and find that the ball has escaped, and the portal has been activated. Oh, and there are now thousands of balls. The tall man reappears and says, "It's never over."
Never,
All right.
Never.
Well, it managed to bring back the trio of heroes from the first film, which is a good trick since one of them was killed at the end of the first film. Generally speaking, Reggie may be the unluckiest hero since the Evil Dead films. He's beat up, attacked, or something in every encounter, sometimes by his allies. There's a lot of silliness and humor in this one. The three bandits, the bargain basement Grace Jones with her nunchucks.
Well, she certainly was channeling Grace Jones.
Yeah, I don't think that was an accident. It was the time period.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get Grace Jones for this.
No,
you know how much money she's going to want? And Reggie's love life in particular is just comical. He never gets anything until he does, and then he regrets it. I think there's probably more to cryonics than just dumping floating heads into liquid nitrogen, but hey, I'm no expert. But yeah, like I said, they're in a good place at the end of this one for more sequels, and guess what? There are more sequels.
Yes.
Which we'll probably be seeing before too long.
I bet we will.
Which takes us to our final film of the day, Underwater, from 2020. Directed by William Eubank, written by Brian Duffield and Adam Kozad. Stars Kristen Stewart, Vincent Cassell, and Mahmoudin Athi. An hour and 35 minutes, trailer in the show notes. Spoiler-free is, it's The Abyss, but with more disasters. Oh, and monsters. It's a fun, fast-paced movie with a lot of tension and claustrophobic moments. We both liked it.
Yes.
Yes.
When I first saw the preview and heard about it, Kristen Stewart.
We were not impressed with Twilight.
Because I haven't been impressed with stuff that she has done in the past. Yeah.
Have we seen her in anything other than Twilight?
Oh, yeah, there was something else. What was it that I saw her in? That...
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing joke that she only has one expression, but that joke's been getting a little old. She may have learned a new one since then.
I can't remember what else it was I saw her in now. Yeah, and I'm not seeing it on the list. Yeah, it was something, and I was, yeah, but so pleasantly surprised.
Well, honestly, this was such an action movie. She was running around with a mask on most of the time. I mean,
she
didn't have a lot of dialogue. She didn't have a lot of emotional
There was no time for
acting.
talking.
Yeah.
It was just one thing after another.
Okay, so anyway.
Right off the bat, too. Yeah, it starts quick.
Yeah, it does. And at the beginning, something bad happens. I thought this has got to be a dream sequence.
Oh, this is just a dream sequence. Yeah. She's going to wake up and, this is...
It wasn't.
It was their own... Yeah, right off the bat. Boom.
As credits roll, we see facts and news articles about the Marianas Trench. Is it Marianas with an S?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Marianas Trench.
Mariana Trench. Mariana Trench.
That's your answer?
Yes. That's my final answer.
Okay, the Mariana Trench. And the deepest drill site ever.
And this is in the future. It's in 2050.
Okay.
You see that.
Did they say that?
You see that in the credits, too. Okay. Yeah, there's hints there. Yeah. It's August 2050.
There is mention of people have seen strange figures down there. There have been unexplained tremors and other mysteries. And this is newspaper and, web articles and text and stuff on the screen as the credits roll.
So it's science fiction horror, yeah. Because, clearly the technology is not where we are now.
No.
So there they explained it. Although it's only, 29 years, and boy, that seemed...
An awfully big, awfully complicated base that far down.
So deep. Yeah. Yeah, that's way deeper than we can currently build.
I think that's a little more hopeful than...
Maybe, yeah.
They're being more hopeful than I would be.
Yeah.
Nora brushes her teeth in the bathroom of the subsea base as the lights start to flicker. It must happen a lot because she doesn't particularly seem upset. There's a small tremor, and she does notice that.
Yeah, that ain't normal.
She feels a drop of water come from the ceiling.
And that ain't normal.
That ain't normal down there. And then the entire place just explodes.
Yeah, stuff happens.
She runs, people panic, and it's all very frantic as she and Rodrigo watch a corridor flooding toward them. They close the airlock door just in time. They have to find an escape pod. She's a mechanical engineer, so she knows things about the station. They have to make their way to the CR7, where the evac pods are. They also find Paul, and the three of them have to crawl through a claustrophobic tunnel. Paul's a little bit on the chubby side, and he keeps being afraid he's going to get stuck.
Yeah, he's not as small as the other two, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, he's tall, too.
Well, they get to the pod bay and find Captain Lucien there. He insists that they're all getting out alive. He says he's just sent away 22 crew members in the escape pods, but he had to stay behind because there wasn't one for him. It means there's not one for them either. They go to the control room and find Liam and Emily there. They have about 30 minutes until the power cores have a meltdown. Isn't that always the way it goes?
Mm-hmm.
Something for tension. Also, there's some scary sounds on the last recording from the mining site. Could something be down there? Well, they're pretty much doomed unless they walk to the Roebuck, the deeper base that's a mile below them. It's an insane plan, but it just might work.
Well, they don't have much choice. If they stay there, they're going to die.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, they all put on their super deep sea suits, and they go down into the pressure bay, and Rodrigo implodes, shooting floating chunks of his body everywhere.
Ew.
Oops.
Yeah. That was ew.
Yeah, what was his deal? The mask was cracked?
Yeah.
He knew it ahead of time.
Yeah, but he didn't say anything because he knew they had no choice, and they had individual suits, just one suit per person, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, they take the cargo elevator down to the lower sections. A couple of the guys go outside to check on a defective escape pod, and they're attacked by something that looks like a little version of the xenomorph from Alien. They come back inside, but then they start hearing footsteps on the roof of the elevator.
Yeah,
something is out there.
And they bring the creature, the little one, inside. It's clearly dead.
Yeah, like the little chest burster kind of thing. It's sort of a worm with big teeth.
Mm-hmm. But there's something bigger outside, and you wonder, is
that thing walking around is not a worm.
Is that the mama? It wants its baby back?
Somebody asked, was that a baby?
Yeah. Actually, one of the guys asked that. Yeah, is that a baby?
Well, the base above them then explodes. Their 30 minutes is up, causing the elevator to fall. They then have to run across the floor of the Mariana Trench as debris falls all around them. They see humanoid shapes out there. Uh-oh. They enter the tunnel to the final station, and they lose Paul to one of the creatures. It rips him right out of the bottom of his suit.
Yeah, the effects are violent and graphic in this.
Yeah, and really good, too.
Yeah.
They have to go back outside to walk some more, and they run into another creature. After a lot of tension, they lose the captain as well. Emily and Liam get left behind, but they may not be dead yet. Now, Nora is on her own. She arrives at Shepherd, an abandoned earlier base. Earlier, the captain has said, let's not go there. There's nothing there. It's all been closed down, shut down, and empty. It's a dead base.
Except
there's no escape pods, but there are lots of tools and lots of good stuff, and the captain even has a locker with his personal stuff inside.
See, I was thinking about that, and there's hints of it in trivia that you read about it and stuff, that there's more going on, that possibly the company knew about these creatures and were wanting to summon Cthulhu, and the captain was in on it. That's why the captain lied about this base being all shut down and empty, and clearly he had been there and was actively being there.
Yeah.
And stuff. So there was something else going on, and clearly he lied about that.
Okay, so you think this was all intentional?
Well, there's hints of that. Yeah, if you read the trivia, and like, oh yeah, and the company, there's something in the company name that's a little bit of a hint, and that they knew what was going on. They wanted to summon the Dark Lord, basically. Okay, spoiler. It's Cthulhu.
Spoiler. It's something like that.
It's a very Cthulhu creature there at the end. Yeah.
Okay, but there are lots of tools and equipment.
But clearly
and
the captain lied.
Yeah. She arms herself and does a few repairs on her suit. She then goes back outside and finds Emily and Liam, but Liam's unconscious and being dragged by Emily. Finally, they reach the Roebuck, the drill site, which seems to be intact, except it's covered in tentacles. They walk through the tentacles hang down, like tentacles do.
Yeah,
but up top you can see their faces and
they're sleeping. They're hibernation.
They're dormant like bats.
Yeah.
They walk through the tentacles until Emily's suit sets off some kind of an alarm that wakes up the creatures. Nora is literally swallowed whole by one of them, but she shoots her way out. Ew.
Yeah, juicy.
Suddenly, all the creatures just leave. Uh-oh.
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 Why?
Nora lights a torch and sees a giant Cthulhu-sized sea monster. I mean, this is bigger than any of their bases. It's huge.
Yeah, gigantic, yeah.
The 3 survivors all finally get inside the drilling installation and make their way to escape pods. The big thing outside is wrecking the base as they run from one destroyed section to another. Liam and Emily get on the pods and launch, but Nora's pod is defective, so she has to stay behind. She sees the creatures going up after the pods, so she sets the base to self-destruct, because every base has one.
Well, the core was already hot, running too hot, and the power wasn't going anywhere. So all she did was shut the coolants down, I think, which made it.
They're like 5 miles under the ocean floor. I don't think heat is a problem.
Well, you would think so. Just flush in some of that cold water from outside. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, she blows up everything within a huge radius, monsters, base, and herself included. As credits roll, we see that the company denies everything and plans to resume drilling soon. There were 2 survivors, Emily and Liam, but they deny everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's very fast-moving, with disaster after disaster and death after death starting about 2 minutes in. It barely ever lets up. It would have taken years to build that base. Why are the creatures just now appearing? And there's living quarters all over the base, all over the place. This was a busy base.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like these folks were the first ones down there. The captain said Shepherd Base was empty, but it had lots of tools, equipment, and the captain even had a locker full of personal stuff in there. What's up with that?
He was lying.
Which you kind of covered.
Yeah.
How did only the 2 escape pods make it to the surface when the captain said he launched more than 20 of them before Nora met up with him?
I know. It's obvious. The creatures were going after those 2 pods at the end. They ate them all. All those escape pods, they didn't make it to the surface. The creatures got them.
But
before
at the end, they launched from much lower down. They were like a mile further down. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's what happened.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, questions aside, this was an excellent film that the horror guys both recommend.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
All right. And that's our show for this week. Yay.
Yay.
Stop in during the week at horrorguys.com. Do that email sign-ups, horrorbulletin.substack.com.
Check out some books.
horrorguys.com/books. And hint, hint, we got a new one coming out in the next week or 2. Uh-oh.
What? Another one?
A new book.
All right.
Watch for it. Tune in next week when we will have 4 more movies and another short. We're going to start off with The Empty Man from 2020.
Okay.
We're going to watch Dementia 13, another old classic.
Black and white, I believe.
Yeah, it was. Phantasm IV, Oblivion.
Okay.
And, how about Dead Ringers?
Oh, twinsies.
Weird twinses.
Jeremy Irons.
Yes, and Jeremy Irons.
Yes.
Well, I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.